What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And today I want to talk a little bit about what it takes to make it in the business. All right, let's get into it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Coach Scott King here. I run a DJ company in Orlando, Florida, www.djsorlando.com if you want to check that out. And I also have a coaching business as well. And today I want to talk a little bit about what it takes and a little bit about my history. And, I've been dedicated the whole time. I just love being a DJ ever since I was younger. I went to the roller rink and I harassed the owner over and over and over again to get it. He was going to hire me, but at the time I was 15, but I kept going back. And when I turned 16, he offered me the job. So excited to get the job. And I was able to drive at night, but it was close enough for me to go in my bike. So basically, when I got hired, it was before snowfall because I'm from New York, and I would ride my bike back and forth to get to the job. And when I was there, it wasn't like I was just a DJ. I had to be a roller rink guard. I would hand out skates and, clean the toilets and vacuum and do all those things. I was so dedicated to wanting to be a DJ that I didn't care what I had to do in order to be a DJ. And it was surprising to me when the people that were at the roller rink longer weren't respecting the job the way I respected it, because I treated it like it was the most highest position possible because it meant the world to me. So whatever it took to get there, I would work double shifts. I wouldn't complain about how long it was. I was like, yay, I get to be a roller rink DJ. And I was basically just playing CDs, one song after another. I'd roll around the rink, sometimes with a little broom so I could clean the floor, be a skate guard, make sure people were, behaving. And then on top of that, I would roll behind where the skates are and then give them the skates when they came in. And I had to be quick about it because when the CD players that we had, you had 3 to 5 minutes or so to do all those things and then have the next song prepared, because anybody who's been a DJ for a while realizes that it takes a while. The tray pops out, you put the CD in, it goes back in, and then you have to click what track you want. All that was happening all at once. Sometimes people wouldn't show up, and then more responsibilities would happen. I took on that challenge and loved doing it. And so it didn't matter to me. Whatever I had to do to be a DJ, that's what I was going to do. And a little bit about my history. Like, I started at 16. When I turned 21, I went into the clubs and I decided I was going to buy turntables. I had no idea anything about them. So I bought them and brought them into the club and learned how to juggle and scratch in front of people. I really wouldn't recommend that because I wasn't very good at that age. And I remember one time I was at the club and a guy from New York came up. He was from New York City, and I thought I was pretty dope. I had a huge club. Everybody was bouncing up and down. And I told that guy that, hey, man, you got to be pretty good in this town. And he was from New York City, and I knew nothing about him. And he was like, hey, man, do you mind if I hop on? So he hopped on and he juggled and scratched all records. He was my favorite mix is when he took Rapper's Delight and put it over It Takes Two. Anyway, I had a whole crate of records, and that's what got me through the whole night. And he flipped through those probably within 20 to 30 minutes. And then he started flipping the B side and working those in at the same time, all while scratching and juggling and just being such a busy bee. I was so fascinated by it. And at the same time, at the end of the night, like I was saying, we would have to go around and pick up the beer bottles. And the thing that really woke me up was some people came back and they go, oh, where's the DJ? And I said, I'm the DJ. No, you the other guy. And at that point, I took it to heart. And then every single night, I would get those turntables, take them out of the club, go down 3 flights of stairs, and bring them to the house and practice, 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 practice. And then I would, go back to the club, bring them back up the stairs, and then play in front of the club. So it was nonstop because I wanted to be as good as the guy that inspired me. So with that being said, my dedication is through the roof when it comes to being a performer, being professional, showing up on time, being dedicated, having that edge to do what it takes to be a DJ. Now, I'm from upstate New York. It's called Plattsburgh, if you want to look it up on a map. It's about an hour south of Montreal. and it's not too far from Burlington. Yet you have to take a ferry to get there. And south, 2.5 hours was Albany driving. So I was so inspired to get more records. And I was like, how do I get more records? Well, I got to go to Albany, I got to go to Montreal, or I got to go to Burlington. And all those things are going to take 2 hours. It's a day trip to go over there, gas, ferry, buy the records, and then come back. Well, when you get the records, you still have to listen to all the tracks to find out which ones will work or make most sense. I was spending my entire check at the club to get the records. So that was it wasn't very profitable because I also had a Sam's Club job where I would work during the day, we'll say 2 to 8 or something like that, but the club didn't open until 9 or 10. So I would go to school 10 o'clock in the morning, I think was the earliest class. And then I would end 3 or 4 and then go do Sam's Club. And then when Sam's Club closed, I would go to the club. So I had 2 or 3 jobs and taking care of a handicapped mom while going to college for a radio degree. So my whole life was evolved around it, and there was nothing going to stop me from doing it. So in 2002, I moved to Full Sail and I got a Full Sail degree. And my main goal was to get 100% attendance, but I didn't get it because there was an audition at Walt Disney World at BET Soundstage that I went to and missed one of my labs. So I had about 98.9% attendance, something like that. And I got the job at BET Soundstage. Now, the job that I got was a call-in status because the people that worked there were employees or equity actors, so they had time off and days off and vacation and that kind of thing. So whenever they took that time off, I was able to get a shift, and it was like once a month for the first year. And I couldn't say no because the manager, I didn't know when the manager was going to call me again, so I said yes to every single show. And I ended up working my way up throughout the years, and 4 days, I guess, was the full-time status. So I went from 1 day to 2 days to 3 days. And when I got to the 3 day status, Pleasure Island ended up closing. So that's a little bit about my history, a little bit about my dedication. And with that being said, I just want to transition to some of the actions I took in order to keep my status, to keep my word, to push for what I love. I love to perform in front of people. I love to play music and get people to move. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes in order to do that because I over prepare, I show up early to places, and I take the proper actions to make sure that I'll be ready for that show, meaning extra laptops and extra cords. I have a few things written down of some things that actually happened to me. And one was pretty recent. So, what happened earlier is that I have one of my high schools and they gave me like 15 days, one of them being the homecoming. So the homecoming wasn't at the school, and I had missed that in one of my emails. So I got to the school 3 hours before the start of the show, and then realized when I had gotten there that it wasn't even at the location. It took me another hour to get from where I was, which was at the school, to another location, which was where the school was having their homecoming. Because I was so early, I was able to figure that out and then get to where I needed to go, and the show went off flawless. That's the type of dedication that I have to what I do, to my craft. And another thing that happened to me was that there was one time I had a Disney show on a Monday or Tuesday, something like that. And I was in Wisconsin and there was a huge snowstorm. The snowstorm ended up canceling all the flights. So I was stuck and I wanted to get to my Disney show, and nothing was going to stop me from figuring that out. So me and Maya got on the phone and called as many people as possible. We found one ticket that was routed somewhere else where the snowstorm hadn't hit so hard. And it was a first class ticket. And for whatever reason, the airline jacked it up to $4,000. So I said, screw it. I'm paying the $4,000 because I don't care as long as I'm in the game. If I don't make it to that show, then I'll be looked at as a bad light and probably not get work moving forward. So I spent the $4,000. And because the flight was a little wonky, wherever my connection was, I got in late, and they actually held the plane before I left because when I got to the airport, or I got to the connection flight, they were saying, yeah, we saw you and the cameras. So we decided to wait for you because we knew that flight was going to be late. So I actually made it to my Disney show and I rocked it out. And nobody even knew the difference because I don't have to go around and tell everybody that what I was supposed to be there anyway, right? I mean, I could mention it in comments, but it wasn't like I was looking for a pat on the back or anything. It was just expected, right? And another thing that happened to me pretty recently, which I'll leave a video at the end of this, was where I was going to a wedding at the Hard Rock in Daytona, and my van broke down on the side of the road. Actually, the transmission fell out from the bottom of the car. The transmission fell out and it destroyed a bunch of things on the way out. So I was on a highway and I broke off and I went to the side of the road. I instantly called one of my DJs. He got into his van. We took everything out of that van, put it in the next van, his van, and then we went and did the show. And we did an amazing show. And that's part of the dedication it takes to make it happen. Be prepared. There was another time when I went to the airport, yet since I scheduled the day before, there was a storm happening in Orlando, a tropical storm, and they canceled all the flights after I had waited in line for an hour, and then they refunded me. So what I did was, and what a lot of people did, is they all went home. By the time we had gotten home, all the flights to get to Wisconsin, alternative planes and alternative routes, were all taken up. So luckily we actually found a flight. And because the flight that I was waiting for to begin with, I didn't get home till, midnight or something like that. And yet had to turn right back around to hop on a plane so that I could get a good plane, a proper plane to get back to Wisconsin. I videotaped that as well because it was a mess getting back. And I videotaped that part, which I'll leave a little bit for you guys to check out. So if you want to be successful and you want to make it happen and it's in your identity, do the steps it takes to make it happen. That's what builds character. That's what people will remember you by. If you just flaked out, or did you take the extra steps? Because that will make you who you are. And I am a DJ and I love doing what I do. And if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do my damnedest to do it. I don't know how many years I've been DJing at this point, and I don't miss shows because I love doing what I do. I hope you guys have an amazing day. I'll leave a couple clips for you guys to check out, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks. Alrighty, guys. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. So today, it's a Monday, and I have a wedding to DJ for, and I was getting there super early, and then I ended up breaking down on the side of the road. So I instantly got on the phone and called my backup, or I actually had an extra crew, or extra Dion. He has a band, and I had him staff to help me out with the wedding. So I called him up and I told him to head out a little earlier, and we're gonna unload everything from this van on the side of the road, put it into his van, and then go do the show. My wife, who's here with us, and she was supposed to do the photo booth. She's gonna wait for AAA to come and tow the thing to the shop. So she's got to tow it all the way back to Orlando. So it'll be a minute before she's able to get a car to come back to Daytona to work on the photo booth. Whenever that's going to happen, because we're still waiting on AAA. We don't know how long they're going to take. I do know Dion is about 15 minutes away, and we can still make our call time, which is 2 o'clock. It's like 1 o'clock now. So we'll see how it goes. I have no idea how it's going to go, and yet we're doing all the things we can do to make it happen.